Hello everyone, welcome to Codex Gaming. So today I went and watched Markiplier's new movie, Iron Lung, and I wanted to talk a little bit about my thoughts on the movie and my review of this film. Kind of like getting fresh eyes on it. I watched it earlier today. I kind of let it simmer before making this review. Um, Sorry. I let it simmer to like get a better idea of the story and whatever. So I wanted to review the movie. I'm gonna start with like a little bit of a spoiler free, you know, review, and then I'll move into more spoilers. Um, First thing right off the bat, the fact that this movie was made by one dude. I mean, obviously there was more people in play here, but like it was written by Markiplier, it was directed by Markiplier, it was acted by Markiplier, it was all this stuff was done by Markiplier. The fact that he did all of this essentially by himself is insane. This movie had, I think it was a $3 million budget, and it's already made like $21 million at the box office. Like it is really doing well, and I feel like that needs some like congratulations, I guess is the right word, because like if you don't know, I am someone who wants to create my own movies and TV shows. That is what I want to do in the future. That is something that I have always dreamed of doing. And seeing someone like Markiplier be able to do that and be able to not only make a movie, but make a movie that could challenge Hollywood movies is very inspiring. And it's something that like everyone's kind of been talking about with this movie. Like, it's crazy that he's doing it, but like I genuinely think that it is a really big deal that he was able to make this movie and get it done and released the way he did. And obviously he's someone who, he's said himself he has unfathomable amounts of money and he knows what he's doing. But like this wasn't money. This was passion. You can't do something like this without passion behind it. Like the amount of work that it takes to write a script, to direct a film, to edit the film. I mean, he literally had to build a editing server. Like literally, this was something that he had to put work in. This isn't something he just threw money at and hoped it stick. So that's crazy. I think the movie is fantastic. I genuinely think that the movie is fantastic. Um, it's not a movie that you would expect. And I think that that's a good thing. It's not what I was expecting going into it. Um, it's like cinematography wise, one of the most artistically recorded movies I've ever seen in my life. Like the amount of camera angles that perfectly play in to what is happening on the screen is phenomenal. The camera work, the cinematography, the atmosphere. Like so to kind of get into the story, I guess this is kind of my spoiler moment here. So if you don't want to hear spoilers, don't watch this section. But essentially, it is about a guy. He's a convict, and he is forced to go into a submarine, to go into a moon that has an ocean of blood. Basically, the whole world has disappeared. Like everything has just vanished, and the only people that are remaining are people that were remaining on space stations. And like every planet is gone. Like all humanity is basically just poofed out of existence. And so this moon has a river of blood, or it's not a river of blood, a ocean of blood, and so they want to explore that and see if maybe they can figure out what caused all this, or see if there's anything in there that they could use to help anyone. And so they send this convict, which is played by Markiplier, um, to the under the blood ocean in a submarine where he's literally welded into the submarine. Like he can't leave the submarine. And so he's stuck in there, and the whole movie is literally this space. Like the entirety of the movie takes place in the submarine. And so you get the like it's very video gamey. And like it is the most video game adaptation that there is, in my opinion. Like even like the Sonic movies are not as like just like, it was like watching a video game cutscene. Like, literally the entire movie was like watching video game cutscenes. Like, the way the voice lines are recorded, the cinematography, the fact that he had to keep going and turning the light on while he was working and having to go between the things. Like, it felt like a video game. And like, if you look at like the video game atmosphere versus the movie, it's 1-to-1. Like, it is 1-to-1, perfectly accurate. And so, like, and the game is not that long. So the fact that he was able to put that atmosphere into a movie is already impressive. Um, Acting wise, he did a phenomenal job. People can sit here and say that he's not a great actor all they want. They're just wrong. I mean, like there were times I genuinely forgot that he was Markiplier. And like, I that was one thing that I was worried about. I kind of talked about like Dispatch, how like I was kind of unable to get like Jacksepticeye out of my head while watching playing Dispatch, and Seán McLoughlin's character, Punch Up. I couldn't get Jacksepticeye out of my head the whole time, and it kind of dampened the experience. Markiplier, I did not have that problem with. Like, he brung his A game into this movie. All the other actors are really good. The actress who plays Ava, Carolyn Kaplan, she was incredible. I thought she did fantastic. Troy Baker is in this movie. Didn't know that watching it. Did not realize that was Troy Baker. Jacksepticeye is also in this movie. He's in like literally a millisecond of the movie. It's a very blink and you miss it moment. I actually missed it, even though I actually knew that he was in the movie, and like I knew he was in the movie, and I still missed it. I was looking for it, and I still missed it. Also Elsie Lovelock, which is the voice actress who did the Gloink Queen. She's also the singing actress for Hazbin Hotel, the pilot. So that's Elsie Lovelock. She was the speaker voice. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But she's the speaker. And I kind of thought that that's who it was. Like, listening to it, I heard like the Gloink Queen while she was talking, and so I was just like, oh, that makes sense. Like I said, the cast did phenomenal. From what I'm looking at, there's literally 6 actors in this entire movie, and I just named 5 of them. There's one actress that I don't know, Elle LaMont. I don't know who she was in that movie. So, but like that's 6 cast members, and maybe 3 of them are ever on screen. Like, the rest of them are completely voice acted, completely off screen. Like, this movie does a really good job with its acting and being able to. This movie doesn't have like an obscene amount of dialogue. Most of the speaking is done by Markiplier, and so it balances really well with the fact that it's a video game. The cutscenes where like he's trying, like, that's kind of where I said like it's video gaming. Where like everything he's doing, he's talking to himself. Like, he's speaking to himself, and he's trying to figure out all this stuff, and he's he shouts at the ship if the ship does something wrong, like the submarine. Like, if it does something, he'll yell at the submarine, or like he stubs his toe. Like, I mean, obviously he doesn't stub his toe, but you know what I mean. Like, he's constantly talking so that it's not just dead air, but it's convincing. And so like there was that. The storytelling was left a little bit to be desired. I felt that the movie was overtly confusing, and like when I was done with the movie, like I did more research on like the Iron Lung story, right? And I understood the story. There wasn't anything in the story that I didn't necessarily understand. But the problem was that the story didn't elaborate on those topics. And that's because the games don't elaborate on those topics. Like, they're meant to be vague. But it felt like I was missing something. Like, the story relied very heavily on like the feeling of you've missed something and you need to know something. And so I was just like, what? Like they would say something, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, you never mentioned this. And then you would realize, oh wait, that's exposition. So like, it wasn't necessarily a flaw. It was more of a difficulty of paying attention to the story being cleverly weaved in. I feel like it could have been a little bit more clear, I guess is the right word. Like, I'm not necessarily saying that they need to spell everything out for you, but I feel like they could have done a little bit better of spelling it. Like you don't have to spell it letter for letter, but like give me a vowel, please. Like please give me a vowel. Also, one thing that did kind of damage this is where the movie, like I said, most of it's voice acting. She speaks, the Ava woman, she speaks through a speaker through most of the movie. And so that kind of made it hard to hear what she was saying. I don't know if the theater wasn't loud enough. I don't know if I just have an auditory problem, but the woman just, you can't hear her. Like, the people for the speaker just can't hear them. And so I was just like, what are you saying? Like, especially toward the end, where like toward the end of the movie, like the speaker's kind of going off and they're kind of talking all at once, and you're just like, I don't know what you're saying. And like, this is important to the overall story. Like, this is important exposition that we're getting, and I just can't hear it. Like, the speaker is very, and I understand that that's kind of the atmosphere of like, the speaker's messed up, the speaker is not working properly, it's static, but like, there comes a point where you have to be able to hear the characters, and there were so many times throughout the movie I was just like, what are you saying? And like, again, it was a very, like, these are very small critiques. Overall, I thought the movie was really good. Like, literally just the storytelling a little bit. Like, writing wise, the characters are really well written. I know a lot of people were complaining about like how the convict is written and like, whatever, but like, I thought that it was really well done. I feel like they could have went a little bit more detail of what happened with the convict and like what he did, but like, they explained enough. Again, like, the stuff that I'm kind of like complaining about is I wanted more. I wanted more information, and the story intentionally left things ambiguous, which is not a bad thing, but it's something that I think could have been a little bit better. A lot of people are saying that the movie's boring, and I guess I can understand that. But I think, and I feel like a lot of people have pointed this out, but like, I feel like the reason people are finding this movie boring is because it's not like other movies where like there's constantly something happening. There's constantly information being thrown at you at once. Where the movie is a very slow burn movie. The movie's horror elements don't even start until like 40 minutes into the movie, where like you really start to realize like something ain't right here. And I feel like people are so used to movies just spoon feeding everything, and I'm falling into this by literally critiquing the storytelling of not giving you all the information. But like, I feel like people are so used to movies spoon feeding them all the action at once and all of the excitement all at once, that they can't comprehend taking a breath and experiencing the movie. And the thing is like, a lot of the people who've been complaining about this movie, I feel like they wouldn't have had a problem with the movie if they went into the movie, turned their brain off, and just focused on what the story is trying to tell you. Focus on the movie. I feel like a lot of people were going into this wanting to like, this is Markiplier's movie, this has to be great, this has to be incredible. Where like, I feel like if you had just, and this was something that I did, where like, I just let the movie cook. Like, it's not boring just because the story's not being quick enough. That's not the indication of whether or not something's boring. Like, and you're free to feel how you feel. Like, if you think the movie's boring, by all means feel that way. But I just feel like, from my perspective, the movie was very not boring. Like, it was the very fact opposite of boring. Is it scary? It's tense. It's a tense movie. It's a movie where like you got a knot in your gut, but it's not scary. Like, it's not like horror scary. It's more like just a series, just a feeling of dread, and you know how it's gonna end. You know that something ain't right. You know that there's going to be a problem. You know that, characters are not telling the truth, or you know that something's not going to happen, and you know it. And so you just sit there and you stew on that. And so that slow burn, it becomes worth it, where the story is basically teasing you, like literally teasing you by keeping itself quiet. That slow burn becomes worth it later. And so if you're able to just focus and watch the movie and not just be jingly jangly brained about it, I feel like you would enjoy the movie way more. But like, I feel like the movie is really good. I really liked it. And I think that this movie, like kind of how I said at the beginning, like this movie is insane that it was able to be made in the, by one guy essentially. And it kind of goes into like the same thing I said about Claire Obscure when it came out. Like this is something that will scare big companies, because you got to understand, like Hollywood and video game industry and all these other industries have relied on so many years of telling their audiences that overbloatedness is the right choice. Billions of dollars and heavy marketing strategies and like just super bloated casts with super big high-end names, and that's what you need for a good movie. Like, people wouldn't have had a problem with this movie like if they had frickin' Tom Cruise in it. You know what I mean? Like critics I don't think would have had a problem with it if it had like Tom Cruise in it, or frickin' Chris Pratt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people, like, this is something that's going to scare Hollywood into realizing that less is more. And if you have someone like Markiplier, who has been very passionate, like you can tell that this is something he cares about. I mean, he literally was weeping about the success of the movie. Like, he's very humble. He loves the work he's doing. He's not doing it for the money. He's doing it because that's what he wants to do. And so for Hollywood to look at that and accept that that's how it works, and that you put love into something and then you get love back, they can't comprehend that. And we've seen this where, like, literally for In Space with Markiplier, the like red carpet reporters ignored Markiplier. Like, I don't know if y'all remember that, but like they literally just straight up ignored him the whole time. And like, because Hollywood doesn't accept content creators. And like, you can sit here and be like, oh well, they've done movies with content creators, but that's not accepting them, that's using them. They use content creators to push their movies. They're not supporting creativity by doing that. Like, Markiplier is someone, like, why, like, if Markiplier had been funded by like a big freaking company like Warner Brothers, do you think that they would have let him have that level of creativity? Do you think that they would have let him direct, write, act, and all this stuff? No. And so any flaws that are in this movie can be very easily ignored, because this is his first movie. This isn't Christopher Nolan, right? This isn't Steven Spielberg. Like, this is someone who has never done this before, and threw everything they had at the wall and hoped that they were able to do it, and he did. And what's crazy about it, and this is the other portion of this video that kind of, it's not the review, but there was a whole scandal where literally the movie was doing really good, like it was on top of the charts. It was number one on the charts. It was literally beating Zootopia. Like, Zootopia had been at the top for 10 weeks or something like that. Like it was Disney on top. Two other movies came out this week. Send Help and Trump's wife's movie. Mel and whatever. I can't remember her name. That movie. So those were the two movies that come out, plus Zootopia. And so those are the movies that came out. And it was beating those. Like, it was number one at the charts for most popular movie. Keep in mind that this movie was only supposed to be released in 50 theaters. And it wound up, because of a campaign led by Markiplier fans, it literally was released in 5,000 theaters. It was 5,000 theaters, including the theater near me that I didn't even realize that it was at, because there was no marketing. Like, there was no marketing. I had to look this up to find this. And it was still number one on the charts. There have been no commercials. There have been no billboards. And I looked at my theater, like, to try to find a billboard. There was none. This was not advertised. And, like, it was on top of the charts. Like, that's crazy to me. And it's because of the loyalty of his fans. I mean, the only reason I went seeing this is because I know Markiplier. I've seen In Space with Markiplier. I've seen Who Killed Markiplier. I've seen all this stuff. I've seen all his videos. Like, I know who he is. And so I trust that he knows what he's doing. Even if I had walked out of that theater and been completely disappointed in the movie, I would have been fine with that. And then the charts did something that, like, completely shocked everyone. They literally removed the movie completely off the charts. Like, it is not found on their list, period. It's not the case of, like, it went down. It's not on the list. Every movie that is released on this list. It's not there. They are actively suppressing this. They are actively hiding how successful this movie is doing. If that doesn't tell you how crooked Hollywood has gotten, nothing will. I also want to point out, okay, so the IMDb rating is 6.7 out of 10. Now, these are normally people reviews, so fine, whatever. But then Rotten Tomatoes, if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, it's a 4... Hold on, I want to show y'all this. On Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score is a 44%. But on the verified... This has 18 reviews for the critics. On the verified 1,000 reviews for the audience score, it's 90. 90% of viewers. And you got, like, look at this. Like, this is a 4.5 out of 10 with your audience. It's actually higher without the this is 5,000 reviews. It is higher if they're not verified. Literally. And there's 18 reviews here. Like, I mean you don't have to like it, but, like, there's something off about this. And then IGN released their review. And this is just such a crappy review. Like, IGN has never been good at reviews. Don't get me wrong about that. But this is just a absolutely dog shit. Just completely dog shit review. Like, literally, nothing that they say makes any sense. So it says, the mere existence of Iron Lung is impressive. The higher, blah, 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 blah. If only the passion Fischbach clearly has for the game and the world that David Szymanski created with it translated into something far more interesting on screen. Because wow, is Iron Lung a slog to get through. For nearly the entirety of Iron Lung, Fischbach is the only person we see on screen, as his character embarks on his submarine mission. Though he does have a radio communication with voices above, Convict is by himself. There have been plenty of good films that follow a character completely on their own. That's not inherently a bad thing. But Iron Lung has terrible pacing and very low energy from the start. The scenarios that Fischbach has put his character in are not compelling enough to watch unfold, and the scenes just drag on and on. This was about 15 minutes into the movie where I started to think about how restless I was getting. The movie doesn't start until, like, this is not how you watch movies. Like, this is not how you watch... What do you mean it was 15 minutes into the movie? They don't speak for 15 minutes. Like, this is any movie you watch. Any movie you watch is going to have that slow burn to the intro. That's you getting to know the character. That is you learning who the characters are.
I don't understand. Like, what do you mean how restless you are getting? Are you that brain rotted that you can't sit down for 15 minutes without a Family Guy clip under it? Like, what are you talking about? And again, you don't have to like the movie. That's not what this is about. This is about like these are the people that are reviewing these movies. For far too long we watch Fischbach turn knobs. We watch him look at screens. We watch him write things down. And sometimes we watch him argue with voices on the other side. But it's rarely engaging. The movie has a tricky job of world building only through dialogue and some narration on top. To explain, I don't remember there being any narration, but okay. To explain what's going on or what life is like, there are tiny slivers that feel intriguing. I do love the game-derived term of the Quiet Rapture. Little of it really takes hold or gives the audience enough to connect to. And it's too much. Too much of it is a guy yelling about something that hasn't been properly explained in the first place. Okay, I will give you that. But again, as I explained, like, yes, the story doesn't explain it very well, but it does explain it. It just is a slow burn. They don't explain it until the end of the movie. This is like complaining about a murder mystery because they don't clarify who killed them until the end of the movie. Like, that's the energy that I'm getting from this. Again, it's not a problem that you don't like the movie, but it's the condescension from this review of like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, I've read reviews of people talking about how they don't like the movie, and like this one just something about it just grinds my gears for some reason. As an actor, Fischbach is fine. As his YouTube audience knows, he has a genuine on-screen presence, and his delivery is decent enough in his calmer moments. But his script and performance also have a tendency to lean into moments where he's angry and gets really loud at the end of a sentence, and that gets old pretty quickly. Literally, these are moments where he's having a meltdown. He's yelling because he's freaking out. This is one of the most realistic aspects of his character, is that he's actively freaking out about the freaking the submarine he's in. Oh, ads. Ew. It's Carolyn Rose Kaplan who gets the biggest secondary role as the most sympathetic of the voices that the convict speaks to. However, the attempt to sell any genuine rapport between the two falls flat. Yeah, that's not. They weren't trying to build a rapport. She's lying to him, but she's trying to be honest, and she's not able to because there's too much at stake for her to. I just one sequence in particular feels reminiscent of Alien, as convict needs to crawl through some tight ducts in a manner very similar to Tom Skerritt's Dallas in that film. But imagine if that scene was with Dallas removed any inherent stakes or tension or drama, and you'd have this version. Just a guy moving through some ducts to do something, finish it, and crawl back and start doing something else. Literally, this tells me you didn't watch the movie right off the bat, because literally, he does it twice. And in the first time, the stakes are he's literally crawling down here in the dark to fix the thing. Like, he's trying to fix the ship and get power back on. And then he does it again, and he has to trudge through the blood. It is a callback. It is a literal callback to when he did it the first time. What do you mean there's no stakes or tension? Or drama? What do you mean? Like, you don't have to have tension and drama in every scene. Things pick up in the film's final half hour when, well, stuff happens. There are, again, like, this like, condescending attitude, just, ugh. There are a couple of solid makeup effects introduced, and we get to see the massive amount of blood Fischbach has promised for Iron Lung. He wanted to outdo Evil Dead sequel, but suddenly adding a bit of gore and a lot of blood so late in the story doesn't retroactively justify how long it took to get there, nor does the film actually suddenly grab you more. I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what about blood falling from the ceiling and just drowning him doesn't add anything. What do you mean it doesn't grab you? Honestly, it just underlines how Iron Lung feels like it would have been much better as a short than a feature film, where we got to this point much sooner. This just seems literally, this is the vibe I'm getting off of this review. This guy went in to watch this movie. He wanted to watch it. He wanted a literal Markiplier video that lasted 40 minutes. He went in, found out that it was a feature-length film, got pissy, and made a bad review without paying attention to anything he actually watched. Because literally, like, this is such a bad review. Getting an Iron Lung movie at all. This is the verdict. Getting an Iron Lung movie at all was an act motivated by love, but it's a video game adaptation that does not succeed in getting across what the source material, or what it was about the source material that resonated with Mark Fischbach that he felt so compelled to make the film. Glacially paced and filled with vague references to a larger world that never manages to connect the audience to. It unfortunately commits the cardinals. I don't know why I'm reading so slow. It unfortunately commits the cardinal sin of being rather boring. And then Eric, go. I did what's happening? And his score was a 4. It's clear Mark Fischbach, aka Markiplier, really loves Iron Lung, but his sluggish movie adaptation feels interminable rather than serving as a compelling interpretation of this world. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, let's see what the critics of the critic are saying here. Because I genuinely am curious. If someone's restless 15 minutes into the movie where the plot is being set up and you get to know Simon, I think that has more to do with the people shortening attention span than the movie. It's supposed to be a movie, not a short video of blood and gore. Exactly. Like exactly. It says boring isn't a word I'd use. If you really immerse yourself in the character and just forget you're in a theater, it's honestly a movie that isn't slow, in my opinion. I watched it at 11:30 p.m. until 2 a.m. and didn't look at my phone once or think about how it's so long. Like, literally, this is what I'm saying. Is like, this review doesn't feel genuine. This feels like someone whining about how they had to watch a long movie. And I'm sorry, but that is not justification for giving it a 4. I mean, this is the same company that gave Concord, what was it, a 7? Like, these people, they don't know how to review things, and I don't understand how people still like take them seriously. Like, it's so bad. Ultimately, I give this movie a 9 out of 10. I think the movie is incredible. This movie is genuinely inspiring that I am able to do something like this. Like, this is something that I would be able to do, and this is something that I want to do in the future. And I genuinely think it's inspiring that he was able to pull it off. I think that I genuinely think that the bad reviews are, one, they're not genuine. Not everyone who does it. I'm specifically talking about the critics. The critic reviews are not genuine. They don't feel genuine. I feel like we've got to a point where movie critics don't want to watch movies anymore. Like they get paid to literally watch the film and then act like it's a chore. Like, that's kind of the vibe I was getting off of, like, the IGN review. Like, there was nothing about his review that really critiqued anything. Like, he wasn't giving anything that, like, he was just saying, like, oh, the characters don't have enough rapport. Doesn't elaborate. Oh, the movie's dreadfully boring. Doesn't elaborate. Oh, the movie has no tension. Clearly you didn't watch the movie if you think the movie doesn't have tension. I'm sorry. Like, you don't have to like it, but there's a limit. Like, there's no way you watched this whole movie and you didn't feel anything. That's just, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm the crazy one. Let me know in the comments. I thought the movie was great. I highly recommend go seeing it. I want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.